Welcome back to EUNOIA. Thank you so much for supporting my launch as much as you did. It makes me feel really good to know that many of you felt emotionally connected to what I was saying. That's all I want out of this podcast. If you feel something, that means something I'm saying can help you in one way or another. It's your host or spiritual mentor, Sable Danielle. Welcome to our second episode. If you weren't here for the last episode, I briefly introduced myself, EUNOIA, and why it's important to me. Today we will be diving a little bit deeper. The topics of the day are self-awareness, self-reflection, and accountability. If anyone were to ask me what the number one thing is when you're trying to get better, my answer will 100% always be self-reflection. When it comes to getting better at anything in life, the first thing to do is become self-aware. Do some self-reflection to get an understanding of your starting point, at minimum, but also to get an understanding as to why you operate how you do, what triggers you, what you can do differently. Kind of like when you're in school on the first day of class, the teacher gives you a pop quiz. That's typically done to establish a baseline of where the students are academically. It helps the teacher create a lesson plan good for everyone. It helps the teacher become aware of what the students already know and how they can grow. That's what we need to do with ourselves. I don't believe that you can get better at anything if you don't have an understanding of what you can and need to improve on, or what you already excel in. Essentially, self-awareness and self-reflection help you establish a baseline of your environment, with you being the focal point. Self-awareness is a conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. The definition is important, in my opinion. It seems like sometimes people get caught up in the everyday motions of life and go on autopilot. When you operate on autopilot, you are not consciously aware of your actions or thoughts. You're just kind of going through the motions. To have self-awareness, in my opinion, is a skill that one should work hard at mastering. Think about it. To be self-aware, that means you're consciously aware of yourself, your feelings, your desires, triggers, etc. You have to actively pay attention to your reactions and emotions, which takes an effort. That means you are in control of you, nothing else. The key to self-awareness is honesty. If you aren't going to honestly assess yourself, your environment, your actions, then it's pointless. When seeking self-awareness, the hard questions must be asked and truthfully answered. And that means coming to terms with that answer and the role you played in getting there. Honesty is only one aspect of self-awareness. The second aspect is acceptance. Accepting your honest answer and accepting the role that you played is what allows you to move forward. It allows you to see things that may turn out differently if you try again by implementing what you learned from the past. You can't move forward without recognizing the mistakes in areas that can be improved. Denial is not your friend, especially in terms of self-awareness and growth. Denial only prolongs the pain in the outcome. It prolongs the lesson. Next, you're faced with a choice to stay as you are, repeat cycles, and prolong the lesson, or you can choose to face the lesson and make the changes to feel how you want to feel, obtain what you wish to obtain. Self-awareness is important because it pushes you to be accountable for your actions, accountable for where you are in life, what you've achieved or didn't achieve, accountable for your relationships, your happiness, and accountable for you. Some benefits of self-awareness are gaining a better understanding of you and how to get better, growth, accountability, it stops stagnancy, and it helps motivate change. There are a few negatives that come along with self-awareness, as there are negatives that go along with everything in life. You have to face your bad habits and imperfections. It's hard, it's emotional, it's terrifying. You have to change. Who wants to deal with that? I get it. It's scary because there's so many unknowns, and that means you have to change parts of your life, which takes real effort, real energy, real time. When I decided to relocate, I was scared as hell. That's such a huge change that I literally had to warm myself and my family up to for years until I was ready to go for it. That move would change everything I've ever known. All I knew was Illinois. All I knew was being surrounded by family. My days would be entirely different. New state, new job, new gym, new routine, new everything. Was I fearful and did I have doubts? Yes. But it's easily one of the best decisions that I've ever made. It allowed me to really face life on my own and find my own voice without the desire to please others first. When I decided to leave my last relationship of 7.5 years, yes, I know that's a really long time, everything changed. All I knew really was him, every day, all day for that time. That change was harder to face, which is why I was there for so long. There were so many activities, routines, conversations, and codependent emotions that were going to change and needed to change as a result of my breakup. That was actual hell while I was in it, but pure bliss once I released and accepted it. I honestly could talk about that for an indefinite amount of time, so we'll give that its own episode at some point. But the point is, change is well worth the ugliness you may face while you're going through it. My need to break up is what kicked off my desire to be self-aware. I realized I had a choice. I had the choice to be happy and live the life I wanted to live. I didn't have to be there. I didn't have to be unhappy. I could choose to stay the same and let all those years, emotions, and energy go to waste, risk repeating the same cycle and bullshit in the future relationship, and also risk living the life of a bitter, scorned woman. I knew that wasn't it. My other choice was to face myself, face the reality of my life. How the hell did you let this happen? How did you get here? Like how? Really? And how are you going to make sure that this never ever happens again? You can only get those true answers to those questions if you are aware of yourself, which is not something that I wanted to do. I mean, I wanted to, because I wanted to fix my life, but I didn't want to have to face the parts of myself that I knew I needed to. I was already emotionally fucked up, rock bottom, like couldn't get any lower. Why do I want to tear myself down right now and admit that I'm not perfect and have toxic habits or traits, and admit that I'm part of the reason that I'm in this shitty space? I don't want to work consistently at changing my ways, because that means I have to actually face those demons. Change my routine, my lifestyle, put in the work, start a new life. Again. Nope, that's too much already when I'm emotionally drained. I'm working, I'm barely eating, barely working out, lots of sleeping and binging, but adding more work, I'm not interested. Who's to say that this is even going to make that big of a difference? That was my ego talking, but those were my honest feelings about facing change and facing self-awareness. I eventually sucked it up and did what I needed to do, because the importance of my happiness, fulfillment, and success in life depended on it. So I decided whatever I may face on this journey of life, this journey of self-awareness, would be 100% worth leaving behind my toxic past to embrace the one thing I wanted to achieve: happiness. I know what you're thinking, because I thought about all of these things. You want me to ask myself, how did I get here, and honestly admit that I made decisions that played a role in getting me here? That's basically admitting failure, admitting I was wrong, admitting that life's not perfect, being embarrassed, saying that this is my fault. Yes, that's exactly what I'm asking you to do, but not quite with that attitude. This is where perspective and accountability come into play. I'm more so asking you to reflect, look at the big picture. Look at the big picture in segments and assess every detail. If you feel like you could have done something different or better, which should be the case 99.2% of the time, then honestly take that in and make the changes necessary to not repeat that cycle. That doesn't mean point fingers or play the blame game. It's not about winning or losing. It's about understanding, acceptance, and growth. Accountability is the willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's actions. Holding yourself accountable helps you know what your next moves need to be. It helps you grow, find your passions, find fulfillment, and find a more meaningful path. Here are a few ways that you can encourage your accountability: journaling, social media posts, putting notes in visible places, utilizing habit trackers, utilizing self-assessments or check-ins, having a partner or a friend, using a coach, putting reminders in your phone, or rewarding yourself for completing the tasks. My personal favorite is journaling. It allows me to do all in one. I write, I express my emotions, how I'm feeling, take note of things that bothered me, my goals, write out what I could be doing better, write out what I want to manifest, and it allows me to come back and reflect on my growth later. If you've reached a point in your life where you are unhappy in general or in certain areas, if you feel lost or can't quite figure out why something feels off, I suggest taking time to self-reflect. Reflect on where you are, how you got there, how you contributed, what held you back, what helped you, things you can improve on, what you did well. The list goes on. If you want to regain control, you have to gain self-awareness. Be honest with yourself. Accept your experiences. Choose to get better and flourish. Growing and improving self is no different than driving, working out, playing sports, or being at the gun range. You must be aware. Aware of yourself, aware of your surroundings, how others are affecting your next move, aware of the good plays, aware of the shitty plays. Utilize those skills in your everyday life to get better and be a well-rounded player for you. Sports teams don't watch plays of previous games for fun. They watch them to become aware of what they did well and what they need to work on so that they can become better and stronger for the next game. Why treat your life any different? People compare themselves to others all the time because their ego says that they want to be bigger, better, and badder than the next. But why not compare yourself today to who you were yesterday and decide if that's the you that you should be to obtain the future and the feelings that you want to obtain? I think that's a good stopping point, a nice thought to ponder on. If you feel inclined, this would be a great opportunity for you to take a moment to self-reflect. Reflect on who you are, your actions, where you are in life, how you currently are feeling, and so on. You don't have to do anything about it, not yet at least, but just take note. Try to do this consistently for at least a week, but the longer the better. It doesn't take long. 10 minutes in the morning, before bed, or during your lunch break is all you need. If you take public transportation, that's a perfect opportunity. Utilize your time, not by scrolling on social media or keeping up with the latest celebrity gossip, but dedicate some of your time to self-improvement. Take some time to feel, not just do. Journal about it or put notes in your phone and reflect on it after a week. What trends do you notice? Does anything significant stand out? Does anything bother you or make you smile? That's all I've got for today. Thank you for tuning in. Next week we will be discussing fear and ego. I hope to catch y'all there. Enjoy the rest of the week. And please don't forget that I am here for you guys. So if you have any topics that you think should be discussed or any questions or anything that you want me to bring up, send me a DM and I will look into it and try to include it into this season. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Peace and love. Sable, Danielle.